Hey everyone and welcome back. So I'm doing a quick review today of the new 4K release of The Return of the Living Dead from Scream Factory. I've been waiting for this release to come out because I absolutely love this film, as some of you know. I've watched it so many times in my life, I swear I've just lost count. It's one of my favorite horror comedies because when I was a kid, this film definitely freaked me out. I was like, and then as I got older, it's like I really got more of the comedy aspects of it. So Scream Factory had previously put this out on Blu-ray, and that release obviously went out of print, and luckily they were able to relicense the film, and of course now they have it in 4K, and of course it includes the Blu-ray elements from their previous release, which was packed. So it's actually 3 discs total, and I'll kind of show it off real quick. So this is actually the outer slipcover, which you can see has the great original poster artwork on the front, and there's a side with a title. Actually, there's one side, and there's the other with each zombie face, and then there's the back with all of the details. And then real quick, here's the inside, obviously also showcasing the original poster artwork, and the back is the same with all the details. There is nothing on the reverse though, which is fine because actually I want the original poster artwork, for selfish reasons. So real quick, here's the 4K disc right here, and then here's the Blu-ray, which does have the new transfer on it. The new transfer was in fact done this year, and then it has all the other extras, all the commentaries, and some of the other extras. And then here's, ooh, that is upside down. Turn that around, yeah. Initiate OCD indeed. So here's an extra Blu-ray, which obviously has a bunch of the other extras and stuff. I mean, there's a ton on here. For those of you who never picked up the Blu-ray release, it has so much. It has ports over a lot of the stuff that was on the MGM DVD, which was great because Dan O'Bannon, who has since passed on, but he was still around at the time, so it has a lot of the stuff that he was involved in. I think it has the commentary track. I think he did a commentary track with it, as well as an interview with him at the time and some other stuff. And this also has the work print version. Now, the work print, obviously doesn't exist outside of, I think, a VHS copy that was made at the time. So it's in rough shape, but it's still cool to have. And again, a nice extra. And of course, it has the More Brains documentary, which is a fantastic documentary where they talk to just about everyone. And it just has all kinds of stuff. And this thing, as far as extras go, this thing is just packed. And of course, they did do a new transfer. It even says here on the back, 2022 4K scan of the original camera negative. So diving into this release, so as far as the transfer goes, I honestly think it looks absolutely amazing. The quality of it, as I was watching it, I was just so impressed. The scan is so good because it's again, the grain is still there, but it's very fine. Because again, the 35mm film, especially a low budget film from 1980, was shot in 84, it came out in 85. It can only look so good. So that's why it even impressed me even that much more. And I didn't see any compression artifacts, and including some of the scenes where I was afraid that they might show up, like some of the scenes where it's raining and things like that. And if there's anything there, I didn't notice it, and I was actually trying to look for it. So as far as the video goes, honestly, I was really impressed by it. So I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. Really, really impressed by how good this looked. And again, the Blu-ray also includes the new transfer as well. And as far as the extras go, I'll get back to the audio in just a second. But as far as the extras go, because it does port over, I believe everything that was on the previous release, which again, already packed, commentaries, interviews, the More Brains documentary, all kinds of stuff, both old and, new, at least new at the time. As far as extras go, I don't really know what else you could get. I would probably give it a 5 out of 5 because this thing is just loaded. Now, as far as audio goes, this is where things get a little shaky. Not bad, but odd. So let me put this down for a second. You guys know what movie I'm talking about. So as far as the audio goes, there's a weird thing here. So just real quick, so it does port over the 5.1 surround mix that I believe MGM did, and I think that goes back to maybe their DVD even. It's an okay mix. It's actually not that spectacular. But the main problem with it, which has been a problem now for a very long time, of course, it doesn't contain all of the songs. I think a lot of the licensing that was done at the time for the film only included, I think the licensing agreement was very specific, and this happens a lot, when it comes to licensing music. Especially from back then, you had problems where they, instead of just saying home video or something kind of vague like that, they would literally say VHS. So for example, if you go back, the VHS would have all the original songs, but any other format beyond that, then they have to actually relicense the songs. And of course, MGM wasn't able to do that, so they actually left off a couple of the songs. So that 5.1 track actually goes back to DAT, so it's missing some of the songs. And then we have 2 other audio tracks, and this is where it gets even weirder. Because obviously for the 5.1, I mean, you know, it's like it's on there. You don't have to choose it or anything. There are 2 mono tracks on there, and this is so there's a default mono track, so that's, you know, when you put it in, if you don't choose anything, this is the audio that it's going to go with, and it's listed as original mono. Now here's the problem with that track, is that it's actually, it sounds good. I will say that it does sound good for a mono track. There's actually a lot to it. You know, I was actually very surprised. The problem is, it's the older MGM version that's missing several of the songs. Now, Scream Factory was able to go back and relicense, I believe, all but 1 song, and which I mentioned before. It's the song from The Dam that plays. They tried to get it, and they couldn't. So, like, you know, I can give them props for trying. And all the other songs. I think that one of the more famous ones that's actually missing from the older MGM version, was the Burn the Flames song that, without spoiling, you know, there's a James Cameron scene. that song plays later in the film. That's in the MGM version, which is weird because it actually plays like the very, very beginning of it and then just fades out, and the rest of that scene is basically just, you know, there's no more music. Scream Factory was able to relicense that song specifically for their last Blu-ray release, so it's on there in its entirety. So this original mono track that, you know, as they claim, is the one that's missing both songs. You know, the Damn song, which is not in any of them, but also the Burn the Flames song is not in that, because it's like, you know, again, because I was playing it with the default audio and I got to that scene, and again, it starts and then it fades out and it's gone. I'm just like, wait a second. So I was like, what's going on here? The other mono track that is on this is actually, if I had to guess, is the mono restoration that they did for their Blu-ray release, which does include all the songs, again, except for the one, but includes that song in that scene. Because I went back and I replayed it, and I was like, well, there it is. There's the song, and, you know, playing over the whole scene. And I'm like, what is going on here? So there's a couple things that's just weird. I mean, obviously, the best version is on there, luckily. It's not like it's omitted. You just have to manually go through the menu and choose it. It's not the default. Instead, it defaults to a very good sounding mono track, but unfortunately it's missing now a couple songs, including that one. And it's like, it's bizarre. Like, I don't even know why that mono track is even on there then, and why it's even called original mono. Which obviously it's not, because it, you know, original mono to me would be the complete soundtrack with all the songs and everything. So I don't even like that it's called that. And why that track is defaulted is weird, but luckily, again, the one that's as close to original as possible is not the default. And again, that track sounds fantastic. You know, that one that they did do for, if I'm not mistaken, that's the one they did for the Blu-ray. Sounds great. It's got, again, all but 1 song. And so, I mean, I'm kind of confused as to why they did that. So I'm sort of rambling here, but basically, so as the score goes, just because I don't know, I'm trying to comprehend this. So for score, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Now, the default is a great sounding track, but because it's missing the songs, it's like, well, what's the point? Now, the other track, again, I believe it's probably the restoration they did for the Blu-ray, sounds amazing as well, and that's the one that you should be listening to, which makes the other track, the default track, pointless as to why it's even on this release. Doesn't make any sense. But as far as sound quality goes, you know, be sure to choose the right track and you're going to love it. It's going to sound great. So again, I'm going to go with a 4 out of 5 for this. So outside of that weird audio thing, which it just boggles my mind, it's a great release. So if you choose the correct audio track, you're gonna have a great time. The video really impressed me. I actually think this looks just fantastic, and again, it's got all the extras, so it's just overall it's a great release. And I don't want to harp on the audio, but it's just it's just baffling. So as a total score, I am going to give it a 4.5 out of 5 because overall this is a fantastic release. So just some quick thoughts. Kind of thing. I know this is kind of a weird review. So if you have any questions, definitely let me know. If you have any thoughts of your own, like if you have the release as well, definitely let me know what you think. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.